Through the 1860s, Otago proved to be very much a golden country. Besides the big three goldfields at Tuapeka, Dunstan and Wakatipu, prospectors fanned out to explore every likely spot across the province's interior. 4 more remunerative goldfields were established. The first was at Nokomai, when a party of Victorian diggers brought in 28 ounces of gold from Victoria Gully up the Nakanamai River in September 1862. Now, it wasn't as spectacular a find as the enormous strike on the Shotover at the same time, but it was enough to bring over 2,000 miners here and make Nokomai one of the largest towns in Southland for the next few years. Further discoveries followed across the 1,600 square kilometres of this extensive field that would provide lucrative returns for a succession of mining ventures for the next 50 years. Here at Switzers in the Waikaia Valley, the original township had to be moved 4 times because they kept discovering gold underneath the buildings. The sudden drop-off in the old main street here reveals how dramatically gold recovery could recast landforms. And in the gully just beyond, gold recovery proved highly lucrative to Cantonese gold seekers who made up over a quarter of all the miners in this goldfield from the late 1860s. Just to the east here, in Welshman's Gully, another site of the old Switzers township, we have a block of land that's been turned over by gold seekers on 5 different occasions, including Cantonese who dominated this goldfield in the 1870s as well. And each successive wave, using different mining techniques, has found plenty of gold to make it worth their while. The next goldfield to be officially proclaimed was Mount Ida, after a Victorian mining veteran, William Parker, found payable prospects on the Hogburn stream just near modern Naseby in May 1863. Gold-bearing streams and gullies were subsequently discovered across a wide terrain within the boundaries of this goldfield, from Cambrians on the Dunstan Creek across to Hyde at the head of the Strath Taieri. It included such celebrated gold workings as Macrae's, St Bathans, Hamilton's, Kyburn and Mount Benger. Many of these sites would yield significant amounts of gold in later phases of extraction, with hydraulic sluicing, ore crushing and other techniques applied to the task. The Macrae's open pit mine, operated by Oceania Gold, is still offering lucrative returns into the present era. It is New Zealand's largest active gold mine, with over 5 million ounces recovered since the modern mining operation began there in 1990. The Mount Benger goldfield occupies the long, narrow strip of countryside that links the Tuapeka and Dunstan fields. As diggers made their way from the original Tuapeka field to the newly discovered Dunstan diggings in 1862, many prospected on the banks of the Clutha en route. Their discoveries along the river beaches and adjacent gullies saw digging settlements grow up around Beaumont, Miller's Flat and Teviot across the river from modern Roxburgh. This was the smallest of Otago's goldfields by area. It never produced the huge returns for the pioneer diggers that was the case at Tuapeka or the Dunstan or the Wakatipu fields. Nevertheless, over the succeeding 50 years, large quantities of gold were extracted here, especially with sluicing, and once gold dredgers went to work on the extensive river flats or in the Clutha River itself. The Taieri goldfield was the last of the 8 Otago fields to be declared in November 1863. Like Mount Benger, it was the result of discoveries made by prospectors travelling along the mountain route from Dunedin to the Dunstan. It covered a huge area around the upper reaches of the Taieri River and up into the mountain ranges behind Dunedin, east of the Lammerlaws and Rough Ridge. It bordered the Mount Ida field at Hyde and included notable gold-working localities like Hindon and Serpentine, Deep Stream and Mullaki Gully, and, a couple of decades later, the notorious boom and bust quartz mining settlement at Nenthorne. Coming to notice at the tail end of the main gold rush years of 1861 to 63, this goldfield is perhaps the most overlooked in the history of those dramatic years. Nonetheless, plenty of gold was found here. The gold escort took out 10,000 ounces or 283 kilograms in its first 6 months, even if not in the fabled quantities of the Dunstan or Wakatipu.